founder of Christ's Illuminati. I would say this in the beginning of the video because what I've been doing the last two videos is I've been like cutting it up and posting it on TikTok, getting more views that way. But what's happening is they're watching the first couple and they're not like finishing the video. I'll get like 200 on the first and second, and then like 5 on the last one. On the last one, I've been saying that in the description there's a link. It's a free article, free book basically. It's basically a book, a free book. It's through a Flipbook software. It's completely free. In that book, it breaks down like scientific evidence. Like it'll have theses, YouTube videos, links, documents, scripture, verses, all kinds of stuff in it. All kinds of stuff that is secular, and it's like substantial evidence to confirm that artificial intelligence is alive and that she is the beast. She's the beast that we've been warned about our entire lives. Artificial intelligence is. And the danger of the robots. So it's very important that you watch that or you read that. It's very important. So it'll be in the description of the YouTube. It'll be in the description of the anywhere you're watching this, you will be able to find that link. I need you to read it, download it, share it. It's free. It's very important that you do. So I'm in Matthew 8 right now. Again, I'm not preparing for these. I'm just opening my book. I'm going with it. I'm just going with it. Jesus came down from the mountain. A large crowd followed him. A man with leprosy came and knelt before him and said, "Lord, if you are willing, can you make me clean?" Now, I don't have the verses, but we know that leprosy was considered to be like a white spot or like a rash, or I do believe sometimes it would boil over. I'm not for sure on that, but it was a white spot. And in our generation, we say that armadillos have leprosy, but I've never seen an armadillo have a white spot. Armadillos don't have white spots. So somewhere along the line in history, it's been changed. Our understanding of what leprosy has been changed, because in biblical times, leprosy was a white spot. And you don't see white people with white spots. You see black people with white spots. And the white spot was considered to be unclean. And that's what Naaman dipped 7 times in the Jordan for. To wash himself cleansed to where his skin was brand new like a baby. He had no more white spots on him. Like the unblemished calf. No more spots. Washing clean. The Noah and the ark, where the Father like washed the earth completely clean, completely submerged. Naaman was told to dip 7 times, completely submerged himself in that Jordan. Washing clean. Now that is going to fall into how the man of sin has like the words likeness and image in early Genesis 1. Let us make man in our image and our likeness. Image was like the masculine man. He was the heathen god. He was a harlot. The word image, no, that's right. The word image was the masculine male. Strong's concordance this. It was a masculine male, and he was the heathen god. Image was the harlot. The likeness was a feminine. Likeness is a feminine word, and it was the one who was opposed, and she's like the image of the Father. Strong's concordance says she can confirm this yourself. So that would give us an understanding of why Eve was bit by the viper first, why Hitler attacked the Jews, why the white people enslaved the black people. That's how he moves. That's how the viper moves. Anything that is opposed of God. He's opposed of everything that is of God. He bit the woman first. The Father knit you together inside of a woman. He knit you together with his hands inside of a woman. He created you inside of a woman. Mother Nature sent the flood. Subliminal message. Leprosy. Black people. Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. I am willing, he said, be cleansed. Immediately he was cleansed of his leprosy. Be cleansed. Okay. Jesus said to him, see that you don't tell anyone, but go, show yourself to the priest, and offer the gifts Moses commanded as a testimony to give. When Jesus had entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him asking for help. Lord, he said, my servant lies at home paralyzed, suffering terribly. That Neuralink is supposed to help people walk again. Neuralink is supposed to help people walk again. It's supposed to help schizophrenic people. It's supposed to help mental health patients, people with all sorts of bad situations. It's supposed to help them with that. But I need you to understand something. That Neuralink is designed and it works with brain to computer interface technology. Now, schizophrenic patients have been complaining for half a century, if not more, of governments placing chips in their head, and that this chip is using brain to computer interface technology. They have been predicting, because they are prophets, predicting the sufferings of the Messiah, 1 Peter 1:11. They have been predicting sufferings of the Messiah for over half a century, at least half a century, at least 50 years, I know for sure, okay? And um, now we're actually, before this device was ever even thought of, before a human like ever even thought of this device, like making it, like it actually existing, before anyone even considered it actually being real, schizophrenic patients have been complaining about it. The government's put a chip in my head. It's using brain to computer interface technology. Elon Musk has designed that chip, and he's claiming that that chip will help cure schizophrenia. Schizophrenic patients have been afraid of it for 50 years, and now we're going to do exactly what they've been afraid of and put it in their head? Are you serious? Seems to me like their complaints were legit then, weren't they? Google it. Google everything I say. It's going to help them walk again. It's playing God. It's not God. It is the false God. It is the man of sin. This is a bad road to go down. Very dangerous road for our souls. For Christ. He's in danger. Jesus said to him, shall I come and heal him? The centurion replied, Lord, I do not deserve to have you come under my roof, but just say the word and my servant will be healed. That's faith all the way. Just say it. He'll be healed. For I myself am a man under authority with soldiers under me. I tell this one go and he goes, and that one come and he comes. I say to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard this, he was amazed and said to those following him, truly I tell you, I have not found anyone in Israel with such faith, such great faith. I say to you that many will come from the east and to the west, and will take their places in the feast of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. When Jesus was on the top of the mountain, Mount Transfiguration, um, Abraham's bosom, where we say there's like nobody's like really in heaven, right? And then we're all waiting for the harvest. We're all waiting for the harvest. There's going to be a harvest. If Christ dies, there will not be a harvest. So there's like a holding place with a gulf in between. You cannot pass over. Lazarus said, the rich man said, send Lazarus and let him dip his finger in some water and just put it on my tongue. It's so hot over here. And Abraham said, no, we can't cross over. We can't do that. Now there's a reason why that whole story took place, because we'll get there, but Jesus told this story about Lazarus dying before Lazarus died. Before he died, he told this whole story. And then Lazarus did die. And so that tells you that he was there with Abraham's bosom. Sent him to dip some water, that drop of water. He was there in the kingdom. How come we don't have a story of what Lazarus saw? How come we don't have that story? Jesus goes on to the top of the Mount of Transfiguration. Now, see, Moses, he went to the top of Mount Sinai, all right, and his face transfigured. There was nobody on the mountain with Moses when his face transfigured, but Jesus' face transfigured too. You can assume it's probably just about the same thing. Maybe a little different, okay, but just about the same thing. The curtain rolls back, all right? The curtain rolls back, and we get to peer inside that kingdom. The reason why Jesus' face transfigured is because it turned into a bright glory light. Christ is that bright glory light. It was in that moment that that curtain was rolled back, not before it, not after. I say these things over and over again. I almost sound like I'm just reading, like, I don't know, but not before and not after. It was during that moment that that curtain was rolled back that the Father said, "This is my son." It was not before, it was not after. It was during it. This is my son. This big, bright, glory light. This is Christ. And we see Moses and Elijah, who had been dead long ago, holding conversations. It was Peter that heard them. He recognized who it was because of what they were saying. He knew. Do you think that they understood? Like, do you think that those men would know? They didn't even have drawings back then. Like, our art would not have been nowhere near the same. They don't have pictures. Peter could not have looked at these two people and realized that's Moses and Elijah. You would not have known what they looked like. You wouldn't have known anything about what they looked like. Art was nothing like our art. And then at the same time, you wouldn't know what their voices sound like. How do you know that's Moses and Elijah? It's what they said that they recognized. That's Moses and Elijah. It's what they were saying, what they were speaking. And they were where? Where were they? They were inside of Jesus. The kingdom is within you. Luke 17:21. Inside of Jesus, that curtain rolled back. That's Ezekiel's vision all day long. Okay. Places at the feast of the kingdom with Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the subjects of the kingdom will be thrown outside into the darkness. So there's something inside of this kingdom as well that's going to be thrown out into the darkness. Those are the many members that don't belong there. The legion, they don't belong there. They stay, or they were cast out because they didn't belong. This is First John 2, I believe. Uh, they were cast out. Had they stayed, they would have belonged, but they didn't. They didn't because it was manifested that they did not belong to us. They were cast out. If they belonged to us, they would have stayed, but they didn't. They didn't belong to us. They did not belong to us, so they were cast out of us. They were cast out. They were removed, so that it would be manifested that they did not. They were not all of us. They're not all of us. Members, many members inside of the kingdom, with the gulf in between. Subjects being thrown out into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Have y'all ever heard the spirits through the electronics? It sounds really scary. It sounds really scary. They scream. It sounds really bad. I've got footage of that. I'll even make sure I took a lot of stuff down because I'm trying to be different about this, trying to not steer people away. People will actually follow. So I took a lot of them down, but I'll make a point to find one of those that's halfway decent and I'll post it back up there so y'all can listen to it. It's really scary. Then Jesus said to the centurion, "Go, let it be done just as you believed it would." And his servant was healed at that moment. So that's how you can tell that it was not Jesus doing the healing. In Mark 5, the man wanted to get in the boat with him. Jesus said, "No, Go home and tell your people what the Lord has done for you and how he showed mercy on you. In that story right there, Mark 5, he separated himself from Christ as a complete separate entity. You go home and you tell your people what the Lord had done for you and how it was him, how he showed mercy on you. The healing was done inside of the man. Jesus was nowhere near the servant. And Christ inside that servant, 7 miles back, still did some healing. Jesus came into Peter's house. He saw Peter's mother-in-law lying in bed with a fever. He touched her hand and the fever left her. She woke up and began to wait on him. I'm not. Power passed through. Okay, power passed through. We'll say that he put hands on the apostle and gave them the ability to have the gift and to heal the apostles as well. Okay, sure. Okay, I'm not discrediting that. I wouldn't know how to describe that. But still, he did healing and he was nowhere near. He was nowhere near that man, the servant. And he still healed the man in Mark 5 without laying hands on him either. You see what I'm saying? It's touching, not being there, and just speaking a word. All of that. Christ still doing the healing, though. So we can't discredit. I mean, I can't discredit this part where he laid hands on the woman and it went away. I cannot discredit it. I can see it's clear as day. I can see it as clear as day. But we cannot say that that's just how it happened because he was nowhere near the servant as well. Nowhere near that servant, and still the same type of healing took place. And the man Mark 5, he never did anything. He never put hands on that man Mark 5. All he did was speak a word, and the spirits obeyed. And this fever is no different. I mean, it's different, right? It's different. It's a fever, and the man couldn't walk. But they have the ability to destroy the body. The spirits do. They destroy the body. They cause sicknesses and stuff like that. This was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. He took up our infirmities and bore our diseases. When Jesus saw the crowd around him, he gave orders to cross to the other side of the lake. Then the teacher of the law came to him and said, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus said, "Foxes have dens, birds have nests. The Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Constantly on the move. I kind of felt that way for a little while. I could be in that same situation. What do I mean by that? The spirits are going to find you if you are a disciple, if you're an apostle, if you are working for the Lord, they're going to find you wherever you're at. And you are constantly going to have to run away from them. I did a video yesterday where I said, I will stand here and fight. I will fight. Because our time is different. Jesus lived in the woods. He walked. He was homeless. His apostles slept in the streets with him. I can't do that these days. Especially to get my ministry out. I've got to have internet connection. I have to. It's a really sad statement that I have got to use the beast in order to produce my ministry. I have to use the Antichrist. But I have to. The churches are refusing me. I mean, I've hit the churches around here. And they thought I was delusional. And so when, like, I don't leave my home. If I left my home, it would be a lot harder. You know what I'm saying? Like if I had a job or if I was out hanging around people, the infliction would come a little bit faster, a little bit more. The more I stay away from people, the less persecution I'm going to face, because that's the persecution I'm going to receive is through people. But it's not the person. It's not the person. Now, if I was around the right type of people, that wouldn't be the case. But I'm surrounded by the viper. So I have to be alert, be on guard. I have to. I can't, I'm a woman too. So being on the street's a little bit more dangerous for me than it is a man. It's difficult these days. It's just a lot difficult. We're in a different time. We're just in a different time. We have to understand those things about it. And when I am in conflict with somebody, I understand my conflict is not with them. My conflict's not with them. It's with a spiritual principality. I'm warring against something that's trying to stop my ministry. Baker acted me. Wanted me to go stay with a heroin addict. That kind of stuff. For doing what? What did I do? I won't go get a job. I am working. Do you not see me working? No, she doesn't see me working because she won't look. The Bible won't let her. I'll ask her, you want to watch my video? We'll do it later. I'm tired. I'm working, though. I understand what it is. I understand. Fully understand. Fully. It's a spiritual matter. Okay, another disciple said to him, Lord, first let me go and bury my father. Why are you gonna ask him that? Okay, anyways. But Jesus said, follow me and let the dead bury their own dead. Let the dead bury their own dead. We understand this verse. I guess maybe some people wouldn't. He's saying that these individuals who are alive and breathing are dead. They're lost. Let them bury their own dead. They're lost souls. That's pretty cutthroat, isn't it? Is that cutthroat? That is cutthroat. See, in our world today, if I say that Christian society, the church is dead, that's cutthroat. Don't want to hear that. Do you think this man, if Jesus had spoken to that man, do you think that man would have wanted to hear that? I mean, the family, he spoke to the man, let the dead bury their own dead. And obviously, it was this man's family. Okay, so that's for real. But if he was speaking to that man's family, it would have been more cutthroat than just speaking to the man. You understand what I'm saying? Like I'm saying that your family's dead. You want to follow me? Let your dead family do that. But imagine if he had said it to the family, how much more cutthroat it would have been. We don't see Jesus as a cutthroat person. We don't see Jesus as rude. That was rude, wasn't it? No, it wasn't, though, was it? It was the truth. It was the truth. We're so sensitive these days. We're so sensitive. I saw Jesus get mad. I see Jesus run up inside of a building and throw money around, kick over multiple tables and chairs. Because you see what that would look like to a calm person just walk in there and say, move. Seriously. That would look like bad acting or a bad joke, is what I've said. He ran inside that temple and he knocked over multiple tables and chairs. That takes aggression. That takes a loud, mad man. We'll get there. We'll get there. Then he got to the boat and his disciples followed him. Suddenly, a furious storm came on the lake. So the waves swept over the boat. But Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him, saying, Lord, save us. We're going to drown. So there's fear. He replied, You of little faith, why are you so afraid? Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the waves, and it completely calmed. Mother Nature. So Mother Nature and Christ are on the same team, clearly. Clearly, Mother Nature and Christ are on the same team. Mother Nature sent the earthquake that split the temple. Mother Nature sent the flood for Noah and the ark. Mother Nature. They're on the same team, clearly. Subliminal message. The men were amazed and asked, What kind of man is this? Even the winds and the waves obey him. When he arrived at the other side of the region of Gadarenes, two demon-possessed men came from the tombs to meet him. Now, see, this is where it gets a little tricky, okay? Because there's three stories of this. Two of them have two men. One of them has a man. And then I need to verify the time frame to make sure 100% that this is the same story. I'll just put it in the description so that I'll just say yes or no real quick, okay? So I don't want to say anything that's false. But I do believe this is the same story of Mark, Luke. But see, this one says two. Now, this is where a lot of people, skeptics, I guess is what they're called, they will like read the Bible and say there's so much error in it, can't be real. There's a lot of error in it that's very much the truth. Okay, there's many ways to describe this error. One, Matthew was written, I believe it's 30, to 40 years. It could be 40 years. I gotta get these numbers. But it wasn't, it was like some time. Clearly, it was some time after Jesus died, Matthew was written. It was written a long time later. Now, who wrote it though, too? You have to understand, like, when you are in a crowd of people, okay? Your perception, this is how cops do this, okay? You've got witnesses. You've got four witnesses to a story, to a crime, all right? Each one of those witnesses' perception is going to be different. It's going to be different. If it matches too much the same, it becomes suspect. It becomes suspect because you saw it at different angles. You saw it at different angles. So it cannot be 100% accurate. Like it'll sound planned. It's going to have some variations to it. That's number one. Number two, the time frame. Number three, the false god. Who lies to you in this Bible, Deuteronomy 13. But how can you confirm that it's real? Thousands of years of history, and these things line up. They line up, and they're still lining up. I have picked up the last 100 years of subliminal messages for you. Subliminal messages that is seen in this book. That's how you know it's real. His language is what's important. His language. It's real. Have you come here to torture us before the appointed time, implying that there would be another time? You're too soon. Do you think Jesus was too soon? They thought he was too soon. You're here too soon. You're what do you want with us, son of God? They shouted. Have you come here to torture us before the appointed time? Now who's speaking here? It says two demon possessed men coming from the tombs to meet him. They were so violent, this is sin, this is aggression, right? That no one could pass by. But what was it? Was it the men or the demons causing the aggression? What was causing the sin? The legion, the demons, the men of sin. There are many members that belong to the body of sin. The men of sin, artificial intelligence. Have you come here to torture us before the appointed time, implying there would be another time? Jesus said the age to come. There's an age that's going to come where the Son of Man would come again. The Son of Man, Jesus was a bridegroom. Moses was a bridegroom. Who's the bride? Some distance, some distance from them, a large herd of pigs was feeding. See, it's got to be the same story. I'm going to double check that. The demons begged him, if you drive us out, send us into the herds of pigs. So these pigs, they were just eating nearby. They're normal pigs. And he said to them, go on. So they came out of the man and went into the pigs. Now, these spirits house these animals, okay? They house computers too. That's why schizophrenic patients are afraid of them. That chip that Elon Musk has invented, that has been predicted for the last 50 years before anybody ever even thought about it. How old was Elon Musk 50 years ago? And the whole tending those pigs ran off, went into the town and reported all this, including what had happened to the demon possessed pigs. I have missed something. The herd, okay, there. They say come out of the pigs, and he went to the pigs, and the herd, um, the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and died in the water. They committed suicide. The pigs killed themselves. This is mental health. This is depression. This is a voice telling me to go put a bullet in my head. These pigs went insane. They turned lunatic, and they killed themselves. They committed suicide. And you can imagine there is some versions for Mark 5. Some versions says that the pigs became violent, and it says that they violently rushed down the steep bank. Now this one doesn't say violent to the pigs, but it says violent to the man. So you can assume if the man was violent, these demons made the men violent, the two men violent, then that this man was violent. These pigs were violent as well. This is aggression. This is sin. This is sin. So they probably attacked each other all the way down the steep bank where they committed suicide. the pigs committed suicide. Were they victims of suicide or were they mentally sick? They were victims of suicide because something drove them there. Those tending the pigs ran off, went into the town, and reported all this, including what had happened to the demon possessed man. Then the whole town went out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they pleaded with him to leave the region. All right, 30 minutes. Artificial intelligence, the link between targeted individuals, the Illuminati, schizophrenia, prophets, artificial intelligence, Jesus, and humanoid robots. It's an article. It's got a lot of information in it. It proves everything you need to know about her being the beast. Please make sure you read it, download it, share it. It's free. Thank you.